Great stuff. Now, 3 years to the day since we actually officially, quotes unquote, left the European Union. How's it going for you?
Well, remember what a big night it was, because we've been through over 3 years of almost the entirety of the British establishment trying to reverse the result. They didn't accept the fact we voted to leave. We were all knuckle-dragging morons. So the fact we actually, in the end, got it over the line was a major achievement. And there are things that we've done in foreign policy, such as signing the AUKUS Pact, things like that, taking leadership on Ukraine, whether you agree with the position or not, things that we've done that we couldn't have done as EU members. But for domestic policy, for economic policy, and in terms of borders, I feel like on the 31st of January 2020, we moved house to a great big exciting new house with lots of new rooms, and most of the packing boxes are still there, untouched. So many of the things we could have done, quite radical things, from fisheries through to financial services, we just haven't done. And some say, well, look, it was the pandemic that got in the way. But you know what? Truth of it is, the Conservative Party never really believed in it. They haven't pursued it with the vigour that they ought to. And they've left the ground open for a Labour government to take us much closer back towards the single market. So overall, got to be honest, delighted we left. It was the right thing, but I am a little disappointed.
Yes, indeed. And Nigel, just on that, we're looking at various different stats that appear to show quite a lot of a horrible phrase. I'm going to use regret, which makes you feel a bit sick saying it. But I can't help but wonder whether or not this was part of the plan all along. From those very people who never wanted us to leave in the first place, they thought, OK, if we make enough of a Horlicks out of this, eventually those, as you call them, knuckle-dragging morons will come to their senses and we'll find ourselves back in the massive globalist putsch that is the European Union.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, if I was asked by a poll tomorrow, am I disappointed by Brexit, I'd say yes.
Yeah.
So I'd be included in one of those people. It doesn't mean, though, I want it reversed. Doesn't mean I think it was the wrong thing to do. So it's all about differing shades of opinion. Politically, of course, the status quo has been reversed. We've left. The problem is we're not diverging quickly enough from it. Now, some Conservative MPs will tell you, well, right at the moment, you know, we're in the middle of a piece of legislation that will get rid of a lot of EU laws. Others will say, in the course of the last 2 years, there are EU laws we haven't signed up to. All of that's true, but you go and ask 5.5 million men and women running small businesses what regulatory benefits they've seen from Brexit, and thus far the answer is zero. We haven't made the most of it because the government hasn't truly believed in it.
Nigel, thank you very much, as ever. You're on later as well, aren't you? Do you want to give us a quick heads up of what's on the agenda?
Well, of course, we're going to be debating Brexit, but also the IMF. Not exactly our friends. And you know what? Actually, for most of the last 5 years, we have been growing more quickly than the rest of the G7. Why the big downturn? And just how much is Jeremy Hunt getting wrong?